night, I can't sleep. So I'm going to be talking about cures for insomnia or sleeplessness. Now the first one I always try is my little sleep pillow. It goes over the eyes like this, and it's got some really good smelling sleepy time herbs such as chamomile and lavender in them. And this will usually help if I'm just too over-tensed from a day of hard work, and I'll nod right off. But this doesn't always work. And I'm out here in the rest of my apartment, not in bed, a few hours later, still kind of grumpy, all that stuff not working. So, at that point, then I try not to go for the sleepy pills, because those ones have a tendency to make me not want to get up in the morning. So, some people go for that, and they're good with it. Personally, don't like the idea of putting too much that I don't know what it is in me, and I'm sure all the other pagans out there know what I'm talking about. So I try to go for something more like a tea. For example, I've got a mix over here of Egyptian chamomile and lavender, and that usually is something that you can do. You can also get like a sleepy time mix at the grocery store. Pour in the tea, let it sleep like a normal tea. With the loose leaf stuff, that has a tendency to have the little floaty bits inside of it. And I personally don't mind it. They sink to the bottom after they've steeped, which is how I know that they're done. And then I just usually don't drink the bottom part and let that go. And then I can usually do a tea leaf reading, which is fun. Which I don't do this late at night, but in the morning I like to do it. So loose leaf is fine. You can also get a strainer doodad for loose leaf if you're bothered by all the little stuff floating around. But I found that the best way to get me to fall asleep is fairy milk. And we actually had a recipe for it up on the Young Witch's website, which I'll add a link to in the description part of this vlog. But I also want to show you how to make it. So I get a regular coffee mug, pour in the desired amount of milk. I usually find that about 4 ounces, which is about a cup, is more than enough for me. And then what you do is you take some vanilla. I have a lot of vanilla because I bake cookies and everything too. So pour the vanilla in the milk. And then you take some cinnamon, and you put that in there. I'm going to be doing this in a microwave, but if you want to do it on the stovetop, you can throw in the whole sticks of cinnamon if you want to. I personally don't have time for that. I'm already tired and I want to go to bed, so I skip that step. But if you know ahead of time that you're going to be using this, you might just want to spend the time and meditate and then do it. You can also add a little bit of nutmeg, which I'm here or there about. Some people really like it, so I added in just a little bit. Too much nutmeg, and it overpowers everything else, and it doesn't taste good by itself. Nutmeg is no fun by itself. And then I put it in the microwave for about 1 minute. Some people will put their sweetener in before they microwave it. I personally like to put it in afterwards because it gets all melty on the bottom if you put it in the milk cold, and then the microwave does all kinds of weird stuff to it when it's cooking. So I like to put it in afterwards. Now there are a couple of different ways that you could add a sweetener to it if you want a sweetener at all. And my favorite's honey. I personally really like it, and I think that that's what gives the whole idea of fairy milk its name, the idea of honey. But when I haven't had honey, I've substituted brown sugar, and that works just fine. I personally like the idea of brown sugar better than white sugar, because the brown sugar has that whole molassesy taste to it, because it hasn't been fully refined. I love the smell of it even better than white sugar. And so it has that extra syrupiness to it. So it's all nice and steamy warm. Now, because I didn't add it in before, I get to stir it all up, and because the milk is warm, it'll go into the milk a lot easier than it would have if it was cold. So it doesn't get that whole burnt taste to it that it does in the microwave. You know that plasticky taste that microwave stuff sometimes gets? Yeah. Honey getting that plasticky taste is awful. And I find that a minute is a really good midpoint, so it's not going to be boiling hot, and it's not going to be too cold, so it's not going to be effective. And then I usually just down the whole thing and go to bed. So I'm going to do that, and I'll see you.